Alright, I need you to take yourself back to the turn of the century, to a very special place and time at Nintendo Space World 2000. The fear of Y2K was over, and it was time to move on to the next generation of gaming. It was at this event Nintendo unveiled the Nintendo GameCube, which up to this point had been known as the Project Dolphin. During the press junket, Nintendo showed a very exciting tech trailer for their new system, showcasing what would be possible for the next generation of gaming. Much of the talk centered around the new, mature-looking Zelda game. Metroid fans were ecstatic to see Samus Aran would be making a return after sitting the Nintendo 64 out, and many were surprised that Mario's brother Luigi would be getting his own ghastly adventure. Then, there was a very special tech demo run by Shigeru Miyamoto, showcasing another game, one that would never see the light of day, Super Mario 128. Many assumed this would be the long-awaited sequel to the Nintendo 64 smash hit. Miyamoto had made reference to this being the next Mario title as far back as 1997. The title, Super Mario 128, was a genius pun, as the GameCube would have been more than twice the processing power of the Nintendo 64, thus doubling that of Super Mario 64. It would have become a wonderful numeric way of identifying the series. The demo itself was a sorted affair, meant to represent what the Nintendo GameCube hardware could process in real time, so it's important to break down the demo step by step, so we can look at the key features in later analysis. The demo starts out by zooming onto a circular disc-like Monopoly board. A single Mario picks up a box comprising a classic Super Mario Bros. Sprite and tosses it off the board. He returns, picks up another box, thus revealing another Mario. This Mario is then counted. Miyamoto switches to the second Mario, picks up another box, and continues the process. All the time, the first Mario continues his routine, and soon there are a slew of Marios on stage, until the counter rapidly moves to 64 plumbers. This count changes increasingly as the many doppelgangers sort through the remaining boxes, until finally there are 128 red-capped Italians on screen. At this point, Miyamoto starts switching, at what seems like random, between the 128 avatars on screen. The artificial intelligence allows for the 127 remaining Marios to interact with the environment, boxes, and each other independently when unselected. Soon, Miyamoto has Mario start pushing the more lazy of his comrades off the game board, where they plunge to their death, in what one can only assume is the endless purgatory below. After this, the landscape of the game board begins to change, manipulated into hill-like structures. The 128 Marios scurry about the mountainous game board, lifting boxes, some rolling down the side of the structure, pulled by what seems to be gravity. At some point, the rendering of the 128 Marios is changed, and now they are all cel-shaded. After this, the characters go invisible, giving off only a faint outline that liquefies the world around it. Then it's back to the original Mario 128 design from the beginning of the demo. Finally, the whole level indents, and Miyamoto begins tossing the Marios around like they are pancakes in a frying pan. Finally, the entire board turns into a pizza, and he shakes everything into the oblivion below. Obviously, this isn't much of a game, but most Nintendo fanboys were sure that there was a game hidden somewhere deep inside. At the very least, they would have loved to get their hands on the demo, if simply to knock Mario around a bit to entertain their friends. The sad truth is, Super Mario 128 was to never be, and this would be the last time the tech demo would be shown to the public. A year later, at the next Space World, Nintendo unveiled Super Mario Sunshine, but as Sunshine was so radically different from the 128 presentation, this didn't stop fan speculation that Super Mario 128 was still a standalone title. Perhaps Miyamoto himself fed the frenzy over the years, stating numerous times that Mario 128 and Sunshine were completely different games, and that Super Mario 128 was still in development. So the big question is, whatever happened to it? Well, if you're a Nintendo fanboy, chances are you've already played it, and never even knew. Well, not so much the game, but the majority of ideas derived from it, hidden within a series of Nintendo titles since the unveiling of the demo. Okay, let's break it down. So you remember the many different Marios stomping about the screen performing separate tasks? This is Pikmin. Rapid generation allows for many different characters to manifest quickly, work together on different tasks, and be reprompted as needed. How about Mario offing his fellow plumbers, or the level shifting quickly to form a new, more treacherous terrain? How about the disc-shaped board itself? Well, it all plays into spear walking, or the effects of gravity on the character. And where have we seen this most recently? How about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, or Super Mario Galaxy? Next, onto the cel shading and visible effects. Both of these texturing techniques can be seen in most GameCube games. Cel shading was used most exclusively in the Wind Waker, which for the longest time was even referred to as Zelda. Look at those Marios pop around. See how they interact when they come back down? Collision detection at its finest. By allowing the processor to recognize many different objects at once and how they interact in real time, this allows developers to create more believable and realistic environments that the player can interact with. As for the whole game board changing into a pizza, could that just be every Italian plumber's meal of choice? It's a joke, but by allowing the entire area to be re-rendered that quickly and in real time, this shows the power of the GameCube's hardware. In the years following the tech demo, Super Mario 128 would haunt Miyamoto. Barely an interview would go by without somebody asking about the progress of the game. Miyamoto would give vague answers, expect something in the near future, 2, it never really was a game in the first place. Finally, Miyamoto put the whole Super Mario 128 debacle to rest with the release of Super Mario Galaxy. Basically saying, if Super Mario 128 ever was a game, this would be it. So can we really count Super Mario 128 as a video game beta? Well, this is up for debate, as the demo did eventually turn into many different games, so in many ways, it was a learning experience for the developers, and any beta version of a game is to be a learning experience, something that many different people can look at so the developer can get feedback and make a better product. Super Mario 128 was Miyamoto showing off the power of the GameCube hardware. Each Mario was comprised of 700 polygons, and the animation was running at a fluid 60 frames per second. If at any point the system would have been overloaded, the green meter on the bottom of the screen would have reached full capacity, and the Super Mario 128 animation rate would have dropped from 60 frames per second to 30 frames. Throughout the whole demo, the meter never went over 30% of its capacity. So what do you think? Have we really seen the last of Super Mario 128? Thanks for watching, and please join me for the next episode of Game Betas. Until then,